Master. Day by day, day by day.
So I'm going to ask you a serious question about that. The song that is being sung during the tower dance is All for the Best. Do you believe the message in that song resonates even though the 9/11 demise of the towers?
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah,
do.
so-
It's iconic in the sense that was filmed on top of the World Trade Center. But I don't make a connection between
Right.
what happened and the song. No,
Yeah.
it's like there is no answer.
You're right.
To me, there is no answer.
So you were the only actor to go from Carnegie Mellon to Off-Broadway to the movie to Broadway with the play. Through the process, what story along the way do you think best characterizes that journey?
I think, the transition to all of those was partially circumstantial.
Mhm.
Sonia Manzano and David Haskell all came from CMU with me. They were all in my class.
Okay.
And we did the Off-Broadway show. And David went on to do the film with me.
Oh, he was Judas John, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, brilliant.
But I think
brilliant.
he was wonderful. But Sonia, I think, had already signed a contract with Sesame Street.
Ha.
So she wasn't available for the film. Otherwise, she might have been also in the film.
Did David go to Broadway with you?
No, I think he was out in Los Angeles at the time.
So you did the whole route. Does any you scored some decent stage roles post Godspell and even some TV film stuff. What was behind your decision to transition from performance and pursue private investigation law?
I think like most actors, especially those of us who had, I wouldn't say specialized, but that had been sort of graced with the rock musical in the 70s. My vocal was sort of geared toward the rock musical rather than legit like Cats or something like that.
Sure.
And I think that the roles started to dry up a little bit in terms of the musical, that type of musical.
Mhm.
I experimented with some things. I did some commercials, a couple of small roles in film, but I just wasn't getting the work that I really wanted. So like most actors in New York at the time, I took a day job as a private investigator.
So wild.
And it just kind of transitioned and worked into that as a full-time gig.
You know, it's so interesting you speak about that because it all depends on the era you're in. The era that you're in, you have specialty, and then nobody considers you for anything else. Now, everybody's a hybrid. Everybody can do whatever, depending on, and there's so much content that, I think actors have a pretty good shot at things now, of course, post-COVID and everything. So anyway.
Yeah.
So today, does anybody bring up out of the blue your former actress life or your appearance in Godspell the movie?
Oh, sure. Oh, yes. Well, I keep a pretty low profile on Facebook, but
Yeah.
people find me.
Yeah,
and
like me.
and I'm always glad that they do. And I know that the song has meant a lot to people, and I get contacted quite a bit about, not about my performance as much as how the song has helped them through some bad times. And, I'm always grateful and happy to hear about that. I'm glad.
Today, you're an author.
Yeah.
Tell me about your book series, how it developed after 2 books previous to developing the current series. So this is the series, you're actually on your 4th novel or 5th?
I have written 5.
Okay, very good.
I'm not working on one at the present.
Okay.
Working on some spec TV scripts. So
Very good.
we'll keep our fingers
They
crossed.
need content.
They do need content. But sort of, I went from being actor to private investigator, and then I became an assistant district attorney after I went to law school. And at some point, maybe being a Gemini and sort of moving from one career to the next, at some point I thought I really wanted to be able to put it all together. And I've always loved suspense novels. So I started writing suspense novels, and I wrote sort of two. And then at a certain point, I became very interested in animal protection. And not necessarily just what they do at the ASPCA with cats and dogs, but the protection of all animals, whether they're farm animals or African wildlife, and kind of what's happening to species throughout the world.
Right.
So I decided to create a protagonist who was an animal protection or an animal rights advocate who solved murders or solved crimes.
Right.
So that began sort of the journey into the 3 books that I call the Kinship series.
Nice. This is a final question. If you were to put a title on your book of life, what would that title be and why?
Let's try again tomorrow.
Day by day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Pat.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2021.